Hello. Last night was really intense. At around 10 p.m. or so, the baby dog got out into the hedge, deep into the hedge. We have a hedge there that's about 7 feet thick or something, and he got deep into it, even though we put fence posts in it to block the path to go into it. He managed to get through, and I was in the garage, and suddenly I hear this unimaginably horrific struggle sound coming out of the hedge, like two animals in a death fight.
Are the hairs bothering you?
I am making a video. Yeah, they are bothering me all the time. Okay. So, and I went out there and I called for him. He didn't come over, and I didn't even know whether that was him that was fighting or another dog, maybe outside of the property or something. But that sounded like his voice struggling, like in pain and growling and all of that, like a growl and scream and struggle all at once. And that sounded like the other animal was either a cat or a raccoon, but I think it was a raccoon, because the other animal made lower voice sounds than the cat would. The cat would scream high pitched, and that animal sounded almost like a dog, so like a small dog. So that was probably a raccoon trying to save his life, like a life and death struggle. It sounded terrible, and I went looking for him. I was hoping that it was not him. I looked everywhere in the house. He wasn't in the house, so then I knew it was him in the hedge, and I hollered and I hollered and I hollered loud over and over and over, and he finally came out of the hedge, and his whole face was bleeding, and he had scratches on the side of his body, and it was a total nightmare. And then later that night I heard an animal in that hedge whimpering and crying, and like the animal was badly injured, and I have no way to get into that hedge. So I don't know what's going on, and whether that's a raccoon or another animal. Nightmare situation. I can just pray to the blue god to protect that animal from suffering. That's all I can say. So the animal scratched him on the eyelid so badly, on one of his lower eyelids, that the entire eye was bleeding, and that looked terrible, and I thought, what if the animal scratched him in the eye? And so then we inspected him, and I was so grateful to see that the claw didn't go into the iris, so just right underneath the eye, into the eyelid, it's all swollen and bloody and scabbed up now, and he's not feeling good. He doesn't even want to eat. At least he ate one walnut, so that's good, so he's not too bad, but he's feeling pretty bad. All beaten up. His entire body looks like there are bruises all over his body and scratches. Not all the scratches are very deep. Most of the scratches are just like scratch the skin raw, but didn't bleed. But the scratches and the bites in the face, like lots and lots, like hundreds of puncture wounds all over his whole face, particularly the nose and the muzzle. And that was bleeding really profusely last night, and so now it is scabbing up. He has good healing capabilities, which is good. So he has to get a lot of rest now and sleep all day long and for a couple of days in order to heal. And Paul already treated his wounds with hydrogen peroxide solution to protect it from infection, and I give him a lot of love and petting and kissing, not on the nose because the nose is sore, but on the back, and gentle petting on the back. And I cover him all the time with a sleeping bag or blanket, and I talk lovingly to him, and I sit with him and help him heal. That's the situation, and this is now the fourth time that he attacked an animal and tried to kill an animal. And he's done it before, and the animals got away, but then we saw the animals dead a couple of days later. One rat, 2 cats, and now probably a raccoon. Could be a cat, I don't know. Because I didn't see them through the hedge, so they were like 5 feet deep into the hedge. Yeah, and this fight caused them to damage the vegetation in there also, because the sounds from the street are now louder. So before that, the hedge was buffering the sounds from the streets. So they must have been in an unimaginable death struggle in there, and probably gotten bruised and beaten up from the hedge plants themselves. Horrible. And so the only thing we can do is we can get the chain link wire fence from the other house and set that up and install an additional fence. It already has a fence, and we put so many fence posts in there to block him from going into the ivy hedge, but he goes in there anyway, so we have to put chain link fence over it. Like, I don't know, this whole length there from the branches that are piled up, and I'm real worried about that situation also, all the way into the corner. And we've already done that before. I had to do this with parts of that. But now we have to put an additional fence over it, like a third fence over this whole thing. But yeah, it is what it is. This is not the ideal situation here for a dog. The garden, the yard is not large enough, and then it's all piled up with stuff and greenhouses and branches piled up as big as this room here. That's not the ideal situation. And I wouldn't do any of this. I wouldn't manage this like that. I wouldn't do it. So I would do it differently. But yeah, it's difficult for me to have to fight with Paul over everything, and he won't listen to any advice. He won't do anything I tell him. So I have to just live with this situation. I don't know what else to do, and I got pretty darn depressed today. I had some bad thoughts come up, like death by cop, It's an option, not a good one, but I'm not gonna do it, but the thought came up today. And I can also overdose, but I'm not gonna do it. It's just that the thoughts come up. It's a bit much sometimes, it's just, it's a little bit over my head, the whole situation. I have nobody else to talk to, that's why I talk to my computer. I use my videos. I get very easily overwhelmed when there's too much stress. Okay, my brain cannot process all of that. I just can't do it. I get overwhelmed. I'll get through this. I'm not gonna do anything wrong. It's just that these thoughts come up, and it's just the thought of, like, what's the point, It feels like what's the point in struggling my way forward and being thrown 2 steps back and then struggling 1 step forward. It keeps on going like that. What my brother did to me is heartbreaking, and I don't get to talk to my dad anymore now, because my dad takes my brother's side, even though my dad is the one who's in danger now, and I had to let it go. I had to let them go. I am trying to help. I get gaslighted by everyone, including the police officers. So I have to let it go. I have to draw the line at some point and say, I can only help so far, okay? And what happens to my dad is his destiny. No, okay? I can't help him. I wanted to help. I wanted to help my parents for 10 years. I warned my parents for 10 years also about this. I said, my brother is a drug addict. This is not good. This is a red flag. This is not going to end good. You need to be more vigilant. But they take a side over me, and it's a patriarchic type of society that comes from religion and all of that, comes from the Middle Ages. Not that much has changed, only the outside facade. The religion changed from religious Lutheran to prestige worship. So I don't know. It's not that much different, so it's pretty similar in the function and how it works. Still patriarchic, sexist, women bashing. The man is always right. The girl is always gaslighted. The crazy girl, Women irrational. Men put him on the pedestal. That's their way of thinking. That's how it goes. Yeah, it is what it is. This is not a very uplifting video. It is what it is. I don't even know if I upload it. Yeah, the thought comes to mind. It's like, what's the point, right? What is the point in this? What is the point of this? Why am I doing this? Why am I living here? I grew up, my parents were heavy neurotic and all of that's very traumatic. But at least my parents, and that was all bad, but at least they constantly had parties going on with prominent and rich people coming over. And some interesting people, some artists. Oh, I'll never forget Inge Bashlakov. I miss her. There was stuff going on, at least it wasn't tedious, it wasn't lonely. I'm a bubbly person, I alienate everyone. But at least it wasn't to the point of, I'm not showing you, it wasn't to the point of creating war as it is now. Okay, when I talk to people now, it is because I know more than I knew then. So ignorance is bliss, right? Ignorance gets you a lot of friends. The more you know and the more you care, the less friends you have. That's how it goes. You, Karen, they call me. Oh, this is who I am. I'm not going to change that. Yeah, but either way, whatever. It's a lonely lifestyle. But I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not going to undo my personality because I can't. I care. And I will always care, no matter what people do to me. My body and my brain will still care even if you cut my head off. My flesh will still care. So, my soul will still care. But it is a lonely lifestyle. Lonely, brutal. I don't trust anyone. I don't trust people. I'm highly paranoid. I don't take any risks. I feel like everyone around me on the street here is dangerous. And for a good reason. Because every day I see the horrors in the world happening. Every single day. The naive, trusting 12-year-old, 10-year-old little girls in the Midwest. They get snatched up. Sandra Hughes got snatched up in Yosemite. This happens all the time. For organ harvesting. Little girls get snatched up for sex crimes. And then they get butchered in satanic rituals. Happens all the time. For a long time, I declared these people crazy that would talk like this. I thought this is some kind of Christian-based conspiracy theory. These people are exaggerating, that they don't understand things right. But now I see that these things are true. And it makes my heart drop. It puts my solar plexus on fire. Right here, through the midline. It's like on fire. To see that these things are happening. A father from Ireland, I don't know where it was, I think it was in Israel. His 8-year-old daughter went to a friend's house to sleep overnight there. And she got snatched from their house. And then he was absolutely devastated. I saw this man crying, made me cry. See that? It was on X. And it was just a video clip that was repeating itself. They didn't tell the whole story. I don't know who killed the girl. But I'm pretty sure men killed the girl. You can't even let your daughter go to a friend to stay overnight. Times have changed. Okay. And that's the truth. And my message to the people in the Midwest: you're living in some kind of paradise bubble. Okay. An island of kindness, surrounded by Muslims, Satanists, Mormons that do blood atonements, and the list goes on. And anyone who has their price, anyone who sees the opportunity. Oh, a 12-year-old girl from the Midwest? I get paid this much, this sum of money, millions of dollars. There's a price tag on those little girls. Like when you go in the store, you see a price tag on a sweater. Price tag on little girl from the Midwest. Well, I can only say I'm glad I don't have children. My goodness, I am so lucky. I'm so lucky. Ever since the Bush administration started in 2000, that's when things went down the hill. Ever since then, the crime was going up, way up. Child murders, child rapes, pedophilia in general, child pornography, human trafficking went like this, statistically. It is so bad, like it's never happened before on Earth. Regular people that normally would not do a crime might now do a crime because they have their price. If people pay them enough, they'll do something. They will sell their girlfriend into human trafficking or their child. So, or someone else's child. It's happening. It is what it is. Cruelty to animals has increased since the Bush administration. Things got better under Donald Trump. Things started to heal under Donald Trump. Everything, every niche of the United States, every problem area began to heal under Donald Trump. Okay. The majority of people voted for him. The Rothschild bankers have to come up with their criminal plans to cross everything out, to sabotage everything, to manipulate the voting outcome in any way they can. They made people that are no longer alive, they use their names to vote for Joe Biden. They threw entire votes away, mail-in ballots. They threw away. And it goes on and on and on and on with the manipulation of the voting outcome. The mafia is running the United States. The Rothschild bankers are terrified because Donald Trump has even more support now than ever before. Even more people are beginning to understand. Okay. So the Rothschild bankers are becoming drastic now. Absolutely drastic. So they started the war in the Ukraine. That backfired quite a bit on them. Now we don't hear anything anymore about it. Let's move on to the next subject. So they started a war in the Middle East. And the people there have their price. Everyone has their price. The Israeli government has their price, of course. They already have their price for a long time. Yeah. That's one unit, the Rothschild bankers and the Israeli government. I'm not talking about the public. There are many unknowing and uninformed and innocent people there, for sure, and very compassionate people there. Okay. Many. Okay. And there may be some compassionate people on the other side of their border as well. But the amount of compassionate people in Israel and on the other side of the border is maybe 1 in 1,000. Okay, so I feel bad for those, really bad, and for all the animals. Donald Trump created peace in the Middle East during his administration of 4 years. He was able to do all of these things. It's hard to even comprehend the amount of things he has accomplished in 4 years. And can you imagine what good things more could have happened in another 4 years? And people wanted him. Okay. People understood that. The majority of people understood it. But the corporate agenda, the mafia, Rothschild bankers, they won't allow that. They won't let it happen. They are corrupted. They will sabotage it. They destroy all of this good work. Revert it back to how it was before. Okay, that's how it goes. The Rothschild bankers, the people that are all the way on the top, these people are, I talked to Paul earlier about it, I think these people are worse than the Muslims. I'm not taking sides with Israel. I'm not taking sides with anyone. Don't get me wrong about this. Okay. Israel, the Israeli government, is completely in the same boat as Joe Biden. Okay. Don't kid yourself about this. Okay. They have this whole, the Israeli government, the Israeli military, the U.S. government, U.S. military, they created that war. They threw fuel into the fire. They re-incinerated that fire. The fire that Donald Trump had put out. Okay. And it's always these string holders. It doesn't matter in which country they are. They're in every country. Trust me. There is no this group against this group. That's just an illusion of anyone who signs up for war. Right? You're just a pawn if you do that. You're a tool to the string holders if you go to war, if you sign up for war. That's the truth. So that's why I'm saying, do not go to war. Okay? Don't sign up for the military. Don't do it. Don't be part of this. It doesn't matter what country you're in. Don't be part of it. All of that conflict, the heated debates and all of that, that's a tool. All of that is tool to the string holders. They laugh themselves to the bank. They don't care about anyone. They don't care about the dogs that are losing their limbs from landmines or bombs. They don't care about the soldiers that are losing their limbs from landmines and bombs. No. They don't care how many people die and suffer horribly. They make money on it. And the main reason why they created this war is to somehow round up the public into believing that they need to now side with Joe Biden or something and re-elect him. And that's the whole thing. That's the only thing. That's the only motive for them. For right now. That's their only. War is always making them money. But to start this very dangerous war, it takes a lot for them. That takes a lot of fear of losing Joe Biden. Okay. The mafia grip on the government. They don't want to lose that. They don't want Donald Trump to win and expose them and whistleblow them. All of them. All of the corruption. And Elon Musk is going to expose all of that. Okay. That's why they're going against Donald Trump and Elon Musk, because those are the two good Samaritans who actually risk their lives to give us freedom of speech, to give us the democracy back the way it's supposed to be, equal voting rights, justice, equality, protection for animals, for nature. The Rothschild bankers don't care about any good things. They only care about having money and power. This is a pathological greed. Okay, those people, in my personal opinion, are worse than the jihadists. It's like a sliding scale, you know. If you look at monkeys going to war, you watch chimpanzees that are going to war actually, and you will think, oh man, they are really bloodthirsty and they already got ego, all of that what humans have, but it's not developed to that degree of should I say sophistication, you know, like mastermindedness, micro management, you know, like the minutest psychological chess moves. Okay, no, they don't have that much of a political strategy or something. So they're very quite rudimentary, right? So take it a step higher. You have Islam. Okay. More cunning, more strategic, more violent, more vicious, more cruel, more sadistic. Yeah. And then you have the people on the very top. I mentioned it yesterday in my video. The very people on the very top of the strategic hierarchy. Okay, so now we can argue on which hierarchies we want to look at in terms of IQ and all of that, but I'm now zooming in on those that have pathological greed. Okay. They're obviously not, when it comes to hierarchy in terms of IQ in general, they're not on the very top. Okay. Elon Musk is on the very top of IQ, the IQ hierarchy. But he's compassionate, so obviously he is not part of the greed hierarchy. So, and what a present for us, that there is someone smarter than the Illuminatis who has also compassion. That's a present for us. You should appreciate him, because he's here to help us. He's here to save planet Earth, the animals, and even the humans. Even the humans that don't appreciate him. Even those. That's kind of like... That's like an animal rights activist who goes out there to rescue a dog. And I've seen a video of a firefighter rescuing a dog out of Ballona Creek, which is a cemented creek. They later cemented that all of that in. So when an animal falls into the creek, they can't even come back out. If they struggle up and they fall back in. So Good Samaritan firefighter and the whole crew, good, very kind people, they came there, and the brave firefighter, real nice, wonderful person, okay, he let them hang him out of the helicopter on a rope, but he was tethered to everything, and they flew him over the dog so that he could grab the dog, put a rope around the dog, and I'm not showing you, and lift the dog up into the helicopter. And they managed to do it, but not without some bite wounds. The dog bit him several times. Why? Because the dog doesn't know that he is trying to help the dog, of course. That dawned on the dog later, after they let the dog onto the sidewalk and gave the dog water to drink and toweled the dog dry and petted the dog and held the dog. Then the dog knew that they rescued him, that they all meant well. Okay, so, but not until then the dog thought, while the dog was in the creek and this guy there coming up to him on this rope, the dog just thought that the guy was going to kill the dog. So the dog doesn't know better. Okay. Same with the public, with Elon Musk. The public wants to bite Elon Musk. They want to bite the hand that feeds them and wants to rescue them. Okay. Same thing. And they don't, obviously they don't know better either, because they have been brainwashed against Elon Musk. So it's a little bit more complicated than with the dog psychology in the creek. The dog's just afraid for his life. That's a very direct fear. Okay. Here, the public with Elon Musk, it's more indirect, it's more abstracted, because the human brain is more abstracted. And because of that, the human brain can be incredibly manipulated by mass media. Okay, so, and the mass media turn the public against Elon Musk because the Rothschild bankers don't want Elon Musk. They don't want a whistleblower. Huh. That's how it goes. But if you ask me, Bill Gates is worse than the jihadists. Okay, so that's just my personal view on it. People like Bill Gates and that's this other guy there. What's his name? I already forgot the name, that old man. So horrible, and insane. There's my beaten up baby dog. Yes, I hope he eats now. Yes, eat. Yes, eat food. Yes, eat the food. Yeah, the baby dog. All beaten up, yes. Oh,
I
yeah.
just fed him egg whites.
Oh, good. That's good. Oh, yeah, look at that baby dog. Look at that poor baby dog. Yeah, look at the poor baby dog, how beaten up the eye is. And the nose swollen and all of that. Yes. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at that poor baby dog, yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry how beaten up the baby dog is. Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The whole face punctured and scratched and bitten. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. The poor, poor baby dog. My poor baby. And that has happened many, many times in his life. When we had him and before we got him, this had been going on. This is like self-sabotage, over and over again. Over and over again. Don't do it, don't scratch yourself. It's gonna be itching when this heals. So yes. So he has to do recovery now, okay? That's what we have to do. Lots and lots of recovering and healing and resting. It's very important that he gets a lot of rest. So I wanted to talk about, I've been wanting to talk about this. Yesterday in my video, before that happened, was the baby dog. I was mentioning Peter Fitzek, and he wants to make the world a better place, like Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And the public, they are going against him, just like they're going against Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson. Okay, all of these good people, they're getting the most slander and hate propaganda in the world. Okay, so, and that this hate propaganda comes from psychologists that are working with the media, and these psychologists have their price, and if the Rothschild bankers pay them enough money, then they will turn the public. They will write a script to manipulate the public into hating these people. And that's how it works. Market psychologists, okay, very cunning, unbelievably cunning, cold-hearted people. So, yeah, those are the ones that are the absolute worst. The Rothschild bankers, that's the epitome of cold-heartedness. It doesn't get any worse. I mean, worse than the draconians, the whatever, Satanists, or whatever, you name it. Okay, so the absolute worst. It's the peak of callousness and cold-heartedness. The string holders that don't care how many people suffer because of the chess moves that they're creating in the world. They have that much leverage. They have that much power over everything. Because money, that much money, that's just there for them to juggle everything, the entire mafia around, to maneuver everything around the way they want to, make everyone dance to their script, to their plot. Almost everyone. Maybe 1% of people that don't, that can't be bought, right? 1% of humans that cannot be bought by money. And so when people complain about the world suffering, look in the mirror. Look at yourself. Look at your own corruption, your own corruptedness. Yeah. That's all I can say to this. Look at how much money you have taken, and you turned the blind eye to what stands behind that money. What stands behind the action that you are doing for the money. Okay. What causes that action that they make you do for that money? Okay. What causes that action? What causes that little girl that you snitched to some kind of some kind of Muslim collaborator? That's why they want all of these people in this country, because they're tools for them. They're just tools. They're slaves and tools. What better tool than, as I heard them say, Paul told me also, and people on the Sean Ryan show have all said it. The mafia, they don't want a skilled, not necessarily only a skilled person or the best person. Mm-mm. They want the right person, and guess who's the right person for the mafia? The person that has absolutely zero compassion for anything. The callous, cold-blooded murderer. That's their right man. Okay. And all of these refugees coming in, they are those. They are the perfect right man for the mafia. The corporate collaborator, the hitman, the one that snatches up little girls in the Midwest. It seems very easy for them to trick little girl into coming with them or whatever. Happened in the Vatican too. Mafia again. Woman that pretended to be an Avon cosmetic seller. She told a little girl, a teenage girl from the Vatican, living in the Vatican. She told her, "You want to make extra money on the side? Here, come, I meet you here." Okay. That Emanuela Orlandi, 3 years younger than me. When she was 15, I was 18 at that time. That's when that happened. Her brother looked for her his whole life. Never stopped looking for her. But it's very crystal clear. The Pope even told him, she's in heaven. How did he know? Unless he's involved in the mafia, right? So, interesting you would say that to him. So, but, yeah, Avon lady, pretending to be Avon. She convinced that Emanuela to meet her at a specific place. She got her into her into her car, and then from there she gave her something to drink. And Emanuela was naive, living in the Vatican, thinking people are good. And that's what these people are. They're like sheep in there, So how does she know better? And I'm not blaming the victim. Don't blame the victim for being naive. Don't blame the girls in the Midwest, okay? Don't blame innocent dogs, innocent puppies. I can hardly breathe. So they drugged her, the lady drugged her, and then a limousine pulled up. and the Avon lady pulled Emanuela out of her car and had her arm around her shoulder so that she wouldn't slump down, and she carefully walked her into the back seat of the limousine, closed the door, and that was her work. Her work was done. She got paid a lot of money for it. Okay. The whole thing was a human trafficking act in order to deflect and blame something that was going on in the Vatican on a terrorist organization. And they used Emanuela as bait, as just someone like a practical tool or something, a victim, a dispensable item. So, my question to the Avon lady, okay. Do you have absolutely no empathy at all? Do you understand what you're doing to this girl? Think a little further. What you have done, I hold her equally responsible for the murder of Emanuela Orlandi. She should be headbolted, that Avon lady, for what she did to lure in that girl and bring her to the mafia. Okay. The same as Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay. The same thing. Ghislaine Maxwell needs to be headbolted. Okay. Not kept in some kind of luxury prison for rich people. They have their different prisons, trust me on that. She probably has everything she wants in there. She shouldn't even exist anymore, that Ghislaine Maxwell. Just like that Avon lady. Okay. Anyone who has their price, anyone who sells anyone into any kind of human trafficking situation, they are equally at fault. They're equally wrong. They're equally criminal. They equally need to be exterminated, headbolted, or bullet droned. Okay. That's what needs to happen. And anyone who would do anything in that direction, there's plenty of people that will take the money somewhere along the line of any of these operations, and they will say, oh, I didn't know that this was going to happen to that girl, right? Most of them do know, and even those that don't know, they should know. The clues are there, okay? And even the people all the way on the bottom of this, it could be, I'm just using examples now, it could be a hairdresser who, like the Avon lady will go, let's say, to the hairdresser and say, do you have any students that can work for me? We're particularly looking for very pretty 15-year-old girls. It should already raise a red flag to the hairdresser, but maybe because she puts $1,000 into his hand without the other people seeing. Maybe that's just enough money to say, I know this girl, Emanuela Orlandi. Why don't you hire her? And then later on, he will say, oh no, I didn't know this was going to happen to her, right? But the red flags are there, but he doesn't look at it because the $1,000, you know. So, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the corruption that starts at the very root, at the very bottom of the mountain. Okay. And most people are in one way or another involved in it. And that's the fact. Okay. And that's sad. And that makes me incredibly angry. Incredibly angry. And rightly so. So now that I talked about greed, I also wanted to mention what I already talked about in my other video. I don't know, was yesterday or the day before yesterday. So I mentioned that Peter Fitzek in Germany is creating a sovereign nation because he doesn't like what he sees in the government. He wants to save the situation, you know. So, and he is highly educated on many levels. He used to be an atheist, and because he read so many books on so many things, also on how to meditate and on how to protect your energy and how to funnel your energy in the right directions, on esoteric, on the occult, on self-healing, on healing other people. So he's incredibly mega knowledgeable on all of these things. One day he met a girl that became his girlfriend, and she had dissociative identity disorder. And he was working with her to help her heal. And during the course of the healing, and he knew how to help her heal. And he did. He helped her heal. She's no longer split in her mind. She no longer has split personalities. And she's constantly healing. She has healed most of it already. Like, is completely capable of functioning now. And a good person. And helps him and wants to make the world a better place. Okay. And while he was doing that, the healing process with that girlfriend, he didn't mention her name, he came across something really, really horrific. He was working with her, and all of a sudden, this woman was talking like a 6-year-old, and her face, her whole facial expression was like that of a 6-year-old. And mannerism and behavior all like a 6-year-old, suddenly. I have a hard time breathing. I wonder if I have heart problems or lung problems, but it could be psychosomatic. It could be, you know, just the psychological grief and the pain and the stress of it. So all of a sudden, he sees her like this, and he's holding her and trying to help her and all of this. And all of a sudden, she cowers down and screams, and I'm just reporting on this. It is in German. Unfortunately, I can't give you the link because most people are not going to understand it in German, of course. But I'm going to try to find the video. Maybe some people do speak German. Maybe someone who comes across this video does speak German. So then you can watch this. Wonderful, epic interview between Peter and Bruno. Bruno is an amazing guy. Okay, free speech channel from Switzerland. And so Peter explaining what happened in this session that when he was helping her. And the little girl that she was channeling her own little self, at age 6, She's channeling herself at that age. Basically, that was one of the personalities that she had. Distinct, separate, split off personality. And sometimes these personalities do something that the other persons don't see, or that the main conscious awareness doesn't see. And then they have time lags and lapses, and there are things that happened that are not accounted for. You're like, they suddenly see 10 bottles of wine in the kitchen, and the other personality doesn't drink any alcohol. And then they don't know what happened between that hour and 3-4 hours later, or a day later, even. Very scary, that form of mental illness. Very frightening. So I'm grateful I don't have it. Okay, so my mother had the beginning stage of that. Two distinct personalities. So, but some people have 10 or more personalities that are all split off from one another. So he was talking to the 6-year-old personality, and suddenly she says she was talking about the Satanists and what they made her do. He didn't get into the details of it, but when I heard that, and there's another woman in Germany, and that may be even the same one, but there's another woman in Germany, but that woman's about my age, and she too had been snatched up by Satanist cult, and they made her do horrible things. They gang raped her. They did an abortion on her in front of all the other people, and then they made her eat the embryo. And again, even 5 years ago, or even let's say 10 years ago, I was very skeptical about this. But then I came across these videos from that girl that told the story, and now I hear it again from Peter Fitzek doing a session with a girl that was reliving this type of trauma. Okay, and then I heard from other people from many different countries: Australia, England, European countries, United States, Canada, South America, Africa. These stories keep on repeating themselves. So there are Satanist cults, there are also Christian cults, there are Mormon cults, there are Muslim cults. I don't know, there could be cults from all kinds of religions or offshoots of religions that are doing child sacrifices, animal sacrifices, and satanic rituals like this. And it's frightening for me to see this. Absolutely frightening. And the more I hear, the less I trust people. The less I want to even go into anyone's house anymore. So I'm particularly not going to go into anyone's car anymore. I used to do this with some people that I trusted. I'm sure I can trust my friend here who lives around the corner, but I don't even want to do that anymore. So she told me about her son. I should go meet him, and they had some kind of event there where they were playing bands. I didn't even want to go. I don't trust people anymore. Yeah, it has come to that. This leaves me total isolation. And a psychiatrist would now come in and say, oh no, you're suffering from paranoia, and it's a form of schizophrenia, and you feel it's a psychosis. it's feeling persecuted, and here is the medication for it. No, thank you. I've been there, done that already. No, we have moved on from there. I'm not going to do it. And most psychiatrists are... I remember I wanted to participate at UCLA at a test person thing, and they would pay people for that. And I thought, because I'm interested in psychology, I thought, oh, why not participate in it? Maybe I can also get some test person credit and enroll myself back into the classes, and I get paid. And I went over there, I talked to the psychiatrist, and he asked me, so I just want to make sure that you only have OCD, right? And because we can only test people that only have OCD. I said, yeah, I have OCD real bad. And then he asked me, so do you also have any of these other symptoms? And he asked me, do you think that you can read people's thoughts, or people can read your thoughts? And I said, yeah, of course. And he said, I'm sorry, you can't be a test person, because that's called psychosis. Okay, so no, we don't want anyone who also has psychosis. I was like, okay. We came here for nothing. Was that black bus driver trying to kill us? The way he was driving the bus, looking at us like, I'm gonna shake them up real good. No, at least the bus driver back was not as bad. But yeah, so, and here I was again. Okay, I won't be a test person, right? I'll just, my life's boring, so okay, whatever. But at that time I was still on psychiatric medication. So, but I quit that in 2003. I quit it in 2002, but I went back on it, which was a mistake, a big mistake, because I was terrified of the symptoms, the withdrawal symptoms. And then I met a massage therapist who told me about Dr. Richard Schultz. And he has herbal tinctures that help you get off the pharma drugs and help you heal. So I was so grateful to her for that, for telling me that. And we went to Dr. Schultz. He was right around the corner from us where we lived in Marina del Rey. And I got his tinctures, I got his teas. I quit the pharma drugs again, a second time. The withdrawal symptoms got so intense, so bad, that I thought I wasn't going to survive that. But the tinctures from Dr. Schultz made it just so that I can barely make it through this. The withdrawal, the biggest, worst, agonizing phase of the withdrawal lasted for 6 months. I was sitting on the couch and just staring on the wall every single day. That's how bad it was. Was the OCD like 1,000 times worse? And everything, I couldn't leave the house, everything 1,000 times worse. And so anyone who says, pharma drugs for psychiatric disorders don't have side effects or withdrawal symptoms, they're lying to you. Okay, it does. It doesn't have the type of drug addiction habit, the dopamine loop type. That doesn't have. You're not gonna crawl on the floor in order to get the bottle of Paxil, to drink it all down, all the tablets, and to get your fix. No, that doesn't work that way. Okay, no, it doesn't have this high or the withdrawal or in terms of addiction like alcohol or street drugs. So that's why my psychiatrist said when I was in Desert Hot Springs with my mother, and I had all of my prescription drugs from Dr. Frederick in this purse. I'd packed this whole purse full of the prescription drugs that she gave me as as sample bottles. Okay, so that I didn't have to buy them at the pharmacy. I had them in this purse, and I was really stupid at that time and naive still. My mother too, and we had so many bags and suitcases. When we unloaded the stuff, I put some of the stuff on the parking lot next to the car. Big mistake. So at least I didn't put my money purse there. That's one wise action. But I back and forth from the hotel room to the car, bringing the stuff in there. And I come back, and the purse is gone with my, what was in it? Zyprexa. Okay, so yeah, either Zyprexa or Risperdal. I think it was Zyprexa. Gone. Okay. I call Dr. Frederick. She says, she laughs. She says, that doesn't have any street value. But still, it had a lot of money value for me, because now I have to go to the pharmacy and pay a couple of $100 for it, right? So, and then my mother wouldn't even give it to the healthcare insurance, because then they had a specific threshold, with the incentive of not bringing the stuff in, and so if you can make it without this going to this threshold, if it's more than that, then you don't have to pay more for the insurance. It's all total enslavement, the whole thing. And the pharma industry is total enslavement. Okay, it's complete enslavement. And it makes people sick. That's all it does. Okay, it puts you into a brain fog. You can't even understand anything with politics. It's just a total mess. But that's all deliberate, of course. So, but anyway, I was able to quit all of that. And I can just highly, highly advise you to quit the pharma drugs. Okay, if you love your body and your brain and your family and want to be vigilant and want to be clear-minded, you have to quit all of that. So mental illness is something that has to do with trauma, and it has to do with ongoing trauma from society, and also brainwashing is a form of trauma too. Gaslighting is a form of trauma. Being around narcissists is traumatic. All of this is traumatic. So if you find yourself persecuted, it's not because you're crazy. It's because you're vigilant. You see it. It's happening. Now I realize that even my psychotic boyfriend Norbert, even though he was schizophrenic, but he saw things. Okay. He did, but it was all a chaos. There was no rhyme or reason in it. He saw things, but it was all jumbled up, so he couldn't really make any sense out of it. There was no system in it. There was no systematic understanding. This is this. This is this. This is this. This is where this comes from. This is how they intended it, and this is where this person fell victim, and so on. He can't see any of these things. And then he ended up on Haldol, which is a drug for people that suffer from schizophrenia, and it just made him into a complete zombie. So yeah, I'm not showing you. So, but I realize now that, I've come across some people that were schizophrenic or psychotic, and some of the stuff they saw were there. It was actually there, but they couldn't understand it. It was like, when people have a nervous breakdown, the discrimination ribbon in the brain can shut down. And when that thing shuts down, then the person can see energies around them in the room. But if they're not in any way clear and in the head, or if they're not in any way stable psychologically, then what they see makes them more unstable. It's more frightening. But when they see something that's not just a hallucination, what is a hallucination? What is that? It's when the discrimination ribbon is shut down and we actually see the energies that are already there around you. And there are many energies all the time. All the time. There are good energies and there are restless energies. And I refuse to call them evil energies. Yes, they're not right in the head, these energies, okay? They're not right in their mind, in their invisible mind, some of them. But they are lost. They are in despair, so they do desperate things sometimes. Okay, so and there are energies that are clear in the mind, and they are here to help. So there are angels and there are demons, but even the word demon is so stigmatized already that I don't want to use that word, but I don't have any other word in order to convey the message, obviously. I have to convey the message somehow. So, and devil and all of this is all misconception. So, I talked about this many times, but I don't want to get into this. But that Peter Fitzek has saved a woman, has helped a woman heal. So I mentioned that the other day, so I wanted to tell that story in this video, and now the video is ultra long, and I think I wrapped it all up. I think that's what I wanted to discuss today. It's an ongoing learning process and healing process, and life is awfully rough sometimes. And more often than less often, I find myself at the very brink. So, but I have to keep going. I have to, if I'm not here, I can't sign petitions. So, peace out.